Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Well, the final stretch is officially upon us. 10 games to go for the Tigers, and 7 of them will be played at home at Comerica Park. Tigers have won 4 consecutive games, playing their best baseball of the season, and it's a nice night for baseball here at Comerica Park. The Tigers right now have that second wild card position as the playoff race really heats up. Welcome to Comerica Park. Michael Fulmer getting set to make the start tonight. Game 1, Tigers and Royals. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba sitting alongside Rod Allen. Glad to have you with us here for Game 1 in what will be a huge 3-game series here against the Royals. Rod, I guess they're all baked from now on, but Tigers have everything right in front of them.
Well, they just need to handle their own business. Just continue to go out and play the same kind of baseball they've played for the last 4 days, and that's good baseball. They've won 4 games in a row. They need to go out and handle the Kansas City Royals. It's not going to be easy. Kansas City's an outstanding baseball team, but the Tigers most definitely have this thing right in front of them for the taking in 10 days.
All right, now it's not going to be easy because Danny Duffy is on the mound tonight for the Royals. He's been awfully good this year, but Michael Fulmer looking for a strong stretch run here to kind of solidify his chances to win the Rookie of the Year.
You know, you have 2 of the brighter young pitching stars in Major League Baseball. You have Fulmer, who's a right-hander. You have Danny Duffy, who is a left-hander. Duffy started the season in the bullpen. He is now a starter and has been one of the best starters in the American League this year. When you start talking about Michael Fulmer, he started the season in the bushes, and then he got rushed to the major leagues, and all he has done is put himself right there in the Rookie of the Year conversation. For me, he's the runaway winner with that award. I know that kid in New York has kind of done well lately, but there's no way he can take it in just 55 games. Fulmer's the Rookie of the Year for me. Who you got?
Oh, I'm going to go with Michael Fulmer. Sanchez, yeah, he's been good, but so what? Michael Fulmer all the way for me. Well, stay with us. After a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios. Check in with Trevor Thompson. Hey, if this series is anything like the one they played a little earlier this month in KC, buckle up. It's going to be a lot of fun. season begins tonight. Michael Fulmer takes the mound for the Tigers, and he is presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Michael Fulmer has ran into quite a few speed bumps his last 5 starts. He's lost 4 of those. His ERA is over 6 in that span. 10-7 for Michael Fulmer overall with a 3 ERA, which is one of the reasons why he's in the Rookie of the Year conversation.
Starting lineup for the Royals tonight, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Dyson, Merrifield, and Hosmer at the top. Kenrys, Morales, good numbers against the Tigers, along with Orlando and Gordon in the middle. Bottom 3 of Escobar, Cuthbert, and Drew Butera catching tonight. Sal Perez was a late scratch for the Royals. And here we go. The first pitch of tonight's ball game is a strike on Jarrod Dyson.
95-mile-per-hour fastball right down the middle thrown by Michael Fulmer. His average fastball has been 95 all year long.
Dyson batting .265. Not a whole lot of power. Speed is his game. And because of the speed, in tight at third base is Ibar. Dyson only 1 home run this year. Fulmer's 0-1 pitch is a bouncing ball to first, fielded there by Cabrera, and 1 up, 1 away.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health. In the outfield, they've got Maben in center field. Jay Up is in left. They've got Martinez in right. Ian Kinsler back in the lineup after 3 days off with the concussion type symptoms. Iglesias at shortstop, Ibar at third. The big fella Miguel Cabrera is anchored at first, and Salty is the catcher.
Great to see Kinsler back out there. He was taking ground balls yesterday in Minnesota, felt fine, so he's in the lineup tonight. Also good to keep Dyson off the bases as Whit Merrifield steps in. The second baseman batting .280 for the Royals, couple of homers this year. That is on the ground foul, third base side. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And Michael Fulmer coming out here in the very first frame, establishing that fastball. He's thrown some at 96. He's been as low as 94 with the heater.
Merrifield just completed their homestand, hitting .344 for the Royals, so he's been a little bit hot of late. Little chopper foul, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here are the field conditions presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. As we get deeper into the month of September, the temperature is getting cooler and cooler. It is 71 at game time tonight.
It's officially fall now, isn't it?
It is officially fall. I believe that was yesterday. And so the rest of the way, fall baseball. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. He tried to hold up, and the first strikeout of the night for Michael Fulmer.
Looks like Fulmer's come out on a mission here today. This is a 4-seam fastball. You can see this is upstairs, and Merrifield couldn't hold up on the fastball because of the velocity at 95 miles an hour. Justin Verlander did an outstanding job in last night's game against the Minnesota Twins, exploiting that young offense's weaknesses on fastballs up in the strike zone.
Here is Eric Hosmer with 2 outs. How much do you think Fulmer absorbs from watching Verlander in fifth day?
Oh, quite a bit. And not only does he learn from watching him, but when both guys aren't pitching, they're usually seated next to one another in the dugout or talking to one another in the clubhouse. I think Verlander has been huge in the maturation process this season of Michael Fulmer. And if you think about it, Mario, really Verlander's really never had any players that he could tutor. Everybody's always been the Scherzers and the Prices of the world and the Anibal Sanchez's. So this year is the first year that he can really start to talk to some of the young pitchers.
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way. And he's got a couple of them on this staff that he can help. Here are the numbers in the defeat of the Twins. 11 strikeouts last night.
Ooh, he was on point last night.
Hosmer fouls it off.
Speaking of being on point, this guy in the batter's box is legit. He's only hitting .269, but he's got 23 homers and he's driven in 97, and he's a Gold Glove winner at first base. Perennial Gold Glove winner at first base.
3 homers, 13 RBIs against Tigers pitching this year. Laid off that elevated heater, and the count now is 2-2 on Hosmer.
Fulmer pitching a little angry tonight, buddy.
It seems like he is challenging.
He got a chip on his shoulder tonight.
Came out of the dugout snorting. Not literally, but just in the way he's pitched. The 2-2. Little looper into center field that's going to carry, and that'll send Maben back, and that is that. 1-2-3 inning for Michael Fulmer. Ian Kinsler back in the Tigers starting lineup tonight, presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. It'll be Kinsler, Maven, and Miguel Cabrera. V-Mart is the DH. JD Martinez in right. Justin Upton, 13 homers in his last 28 games. Ibar, Salty, Iglesias rounded out. And they are facing the left-handed slants of Danny Duffy.
He's a tough assignment. He has taken that next step in his major league career. He's made 24 starts this year. He's 12-2 with an outstanding ERA. But take a look at the strikes and walks ratio. 181 punch-outs for Duffy this year, and he's only walked 36. So he's gotten a whole lot better this year.
Ian Kinsler is the first man to face him here. Kinsler and then Maven and Miguel Cabrera.
If you notice Duffy, he does not wind up. He pitches out of the stretch from the word go.
And the first one is at the knees, strike one.
And the reason for that, if you don't know, is the fact that he was pitching out of the bullpen at the beginning of the year, and he became so comfortable pitching the way that he's pitching right now that when they put him in the rotation, he just stayed with this.
Got to be honest with you, I'm surprised a lot more starting pitchers don't adopt this way of going about business. It really streamlines the way you bring the ball to the plate, and a lot less moving parts. And Duffy has mastered it. Kinsler waiting on a 1-1. That'll sail inside. 2 balls and 1 strike on the Tigers leadoff man. His first at bat since leaving the game Sunday in Cleveland after being hit on the helmet. Later he was tossed out of that game. Here's the 2-1. High, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, you're pretty much going to get a fastball here from Duffy. He can get all the way up to 97 miles an hour. His average heater pretty much about 94, 95, just like Michael Fulmer. They're going inside.
And he lost him, ball 4.
Let's take a look at the starting defensive alignment for the Kansas City Royals. It is brought to you by Tim Hortons. Gordon, Dyson, Orlando in the outfield. All 3 can really run and they can really throw. Escobar, Merrifield up the middle. Cuthbert at third. Eric Hosmer, he is at first. And Butera is behind the plate. Drew Butera.
Salvador Perez was originally in the starting lineup for KC tonight. He was scratched because, I believe, a sore knee. Is that what they said?
This may be the first time since he's come to the big leagues that I can remember him not playing in a game against us.
He's out there every day, or it seems.
Literally.
Maven looks at a strike, 0-1.
That's a good pitch right there, and that's a real good call by Butera. He had trouble throwing the fastball to Ian Kinsler. He didn't command it very well. So he comes out and he throws a first pitch breaking ball to Cam Maven. It's a nice job of leadership by their catcher.
High fly ball, center field routine for Dyson. And Kinsler retreats, 1 gone. By the way, stay tuned to Tigers Live following the game. We'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game. Presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites, now being served all day.
All day?
All day. All day, every day. What do you got?
Well, I'm thinking about Miggy because the first half of the season he hit 200 against lefties, but in the second half he's hitting 430. But I'm not going to go Miggy. I'm going to go Michael Fulmer today.
Okay, you gave us all those stats, and now you're going Fulmer instead. Well, he had a really good first inning. All right, I'll go Cabrera then.
Go for it.
Yeah, I got Miggy.
I got him doing something special tonight anyway.
The truck is going with the guy that just returned to the lineup, Ian Kinsler.
Good pick.
3 solid selections this evening.
Ken's got those fresh legs. He's had a few days off.
Snap throw. He threw it away. Little bounce against the tarp. Kinsler might get to third on this.
Look at the truck.
There he goes. And he is in there safely.
That's the truck's guy.
E1. Duffy threw it away at first base, and Kinsler just didn't stop running.
And Hosmer saying his bad, but that was a poor throw by Duffy. As a matter of fact, he looked like he handcuffed Hosmer, who's a great glove at first base. And once that ball got past Ian Kinsler and down into foul territory, Kinsler just took off. He didn't even need the third base coach, Dave Clark, to tell him whether he could get to third base or not. He basically made that decision on his own. They've got to get this run in, especially against Duffy, especially early. You've got to capitalize here.
Infield coming in for the Royals with a runner at third, and time called now by the catcher Butera. .279 this year with runners in scoring position for Miguel. Up and in. 2-0 the count.
I don't know for sure, but this could be a situation where Duffy just chooses to pitch around Miguel Cabrera to put him on first base and then try to play for 2 off the bat of Victor Martinez. That might be his best opportunity of getting out of the inning without giving up a run.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do here. 3-0 on Cabrera, who, by the way, has 13 intentional walks this year, but many others in which they weren't intentional. They just simply put him on by not pitching to him.
Yeah, but one of the things that Miguel will do, if you get too close to home plate, he will drive that run in. Runner on third, less than 2 outs.
That's low ball 4. That'll put 2 men on. And it brings up Victor Martinez. Delve into the strategy here. Certainly Victor gives you a better shot at bouncing into a double play, but he showed signs of turning that bat around in the Minnesota series, that pinch hit home run. Victor at .289 now with 25 homers.
And Victor also hitting at .303 against Duffy. Not many Tigers have good numbers against Danny Duffy, but Victor is one guy that's hitting over 300 against him.
Swing and a miss and a big rip there.
He just reached back to get 95 and threw that right by Victor.
And Victor had a healthy cut.
And he got to a real nice balanced position to Duffy. He allowed the arm to catch up, and he came straight over the top with a mid-90s fastball.
That'll dive low, just missed the strike zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. Duffy this season, his fastball velocity 94, almost 95 miles an hour. His teammate Ventura is at 96.
And Duffy is the only left-hander on that list.
Way inside, 2-1.
Duffy has a really good changeup. He's a lot like Michael Fulmer. And both guys have always had very good arms, very good breaking balls, but it's been the changeup that's kind of elevated both of the starting pitchers to a whole nother level this year. We haven't seen a changeup yet from Duffy.
Now Victor ahead of the count, 2-1. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the Chevy Silverado most dependable player, Victor Martinez. Career against the Royals, these are active ranks, and you can see, Rob, that he is just about on top of every one of those categories.
Wow. First. Second in hits. He's worn out Kansas City Royals pitching in his career.
And now trying to give the Tigers an early lead here tonight. Critical game, the final homestand of the season beginning tonight. And he just got a piece to stay alive.
Duffy has thrown Victor Martinez all fastballs, and every last one of them have been 94 and above.
Tigers got to Duffy the last time they saw him on September the 2nd in KC. 9 hits, 4 runs in 5 2/3. They've got an early scoring chance here. A walk, a throwing error, and another walk. Low and in, runner going to second. Here's the throw down into center field. That'll get a run in. Butera threw it away. Miggy goes to third. He's in there sliding safely. And the Royals are throwing the ball around here in the first inning.
Outstanding job here by Miguel Cabrera. This is a breaking ball in the dirt, and it bounces a couple of feet away from Butera. And Miguel Cabrera, with the outstanding base running instincts, he forces Butera into throwing the ball into center field. That allows Ian Kinsler to score, and that allows Miguel Cabrera to get to third base. I mean, he's just an outstanding base runner. He knows when to go, what to do, where to slide, and he makes everybody else that much better.
We have seen more instinctual plays on the base pass by Cabrera in the last 2 weeks.
And his teammates are simply feeding off of his energy right now.
Wild pitch E2. Kinsler scores the game's first run. Second error of the inning, one by the pitcher, one by the catcher.
You took Mickey too, didn't you?
I did. Well, you gave him to me.
I teed him up for you.
You're still in good shape with Fulmer.
Oh, absolutely. I'm kind of feeling Fulmer right now.
Infield in a couple of steps with the runner at third base and a ball high and away, and now Victor will get his walk.
Duffy really has not had any issues whatsoever this year overall with the base on balls, but he has already walked 3 here in the very first frame. One of those was by design, though. He basically pitched around Mickey.
Less than 2 walks per 9 coming in.
What happened? Did Mickey get hit by the ball on the throw by Butera down to second base? Oh,
he did.
It did clip that thumb, looks like.
Initially, I thought it was the slide into third where it happened, but he got clipped on the throw.
I did too.
So here is J.D. Martinez. Tigers showing a lot of energy, a lot of life early here. They've taken advantage of 3 walks. And J.D. shoots one foul back out of play.
Duffy might not last very long in this game if he's going to try to overpower the Tigers with fastballs. The Tigers have a team full of guys that can really hit 94, 95 mile-per-hour fastballs. When Duffy has had success against the Tigers this year, he's had that really good changeup and that breaking ball and some fastballs.
Darting low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's looking like the old Duffy tonight so far.
Yeah, the Duffy that at one point in his career, and this was a couple of years ago, granted, was about 5 walks per 9. He's been much better at that despite the 3 base on balls in this inning. That's a good foul back out of play. Another fastball from Duffy. Well, the Tigers came in with the 2nd wild card position, a half game up on Baltimore now. Houston lost last night, so they're a game and a half out. And really, I mean, you're looking at the 2nd wild card position, but how about that 1st wild card position?
Might as well chase down Toronto.
Why not? 1-2 on J.D. Bouncing ball foul. Duffy already now at 22 pitches. 27-year-old California native. And again the 1-2. Fouled off on a check swing by JD. Martinez had 5 hits on the road trip. He's had some really good games against the Royals this year. He's hit a couple of homers against KC, batting better than 300 against them. And it's high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. If nothing else, the Tigers are running the pitch count up here against Duffy early. Upton waiting on deck.
Ratio not very good for Danny Duffy here. And he's been more of a thrower here tonight in the very first inning instead of the pitcher that he's been pretty much all year for Kansas City.
This will be the 8th pitch in this at bat. And he swings and tips it into the glove for strike 3. That is a big strikeout for Duffy. His first of the game, 2 gone.
He finally finishes them off with a changeup. That's a straight change. It looks just like the fastball coming out of Duffy's hands. You really can't decide or differentiate between the 2 pitches, not until the ball gets in the hitting zone, and that's why you saw JD Martinez swing right over the top of it. His fastball is 95, 96. His changeup is 85 most of the time.
Justin Upton looks at strike 1.
See, now he's starting to pitch a little bit. Change up to strike out Martinez. First pitch, breaking ball to Justin Upton.
Upton has hit safely in his last 4. That'll break a little bit inside, and the count now levels at 1.
Well, he's gotten some huge hits for the Tigers the last calendar month. Several home runs late in games, walk-off homers, you name it. And he's been finding the seats with regularity. 26 homers right now for Justin.
There was a time earlier this year where no one could have envisioned the type of stretch that Justin Upton was going to have. So many people gave up on Upton, called the signing a big bust, and you know, now down the stretch, he has been as clutch as anybody on this team.
On several nights, he has simply put the boys on his back and carried them.
2-2 now on Upton.
Here's the Magic Moonshot presented by Magic Window. And it was just a couple of days ago. This one traveled about 430 feet to straightaway center field at Target Field. Tigers really put on an offensive clinic in Target Field the last 3 days.
20 RBIs this season, or this month, I should say. 8 homers.
Is that good?
That's good. That's fouled straight back. 2-2. Well, the Tigers have gotten 3 walks in this inning. The Royals have chipped in with a couple of errors. But Duffy has an opportunity here to get out of this inning with only 1 run being scored, but his pitch count is over 30 now. Cabrera, Martinez on the bases. And a ground ball fair down the third base line, going to go to the corner. 1 run is in. Martinez will go to third, and he is in safely there. Double RBI for Justin Upton.
Outstanding at bat here by Justin Upton. It looked like he got an off-speed pitch, and he waited just long enough to get that ball down the third baseline past Cuthbert, their third baseman. Victor Martinez was running from first base, and it looked like he was going to make it easy to third base, and then he really had to start running hard and aggressive to make it there.
And a bit of an awkward slide as well at third base for Vmart. What do you got there?
Awkward to say the least.
I know. I was holding my breath, hoping he would get up. There's a strike on Eric Ibar. Ibar 244, had a couple of key hits on the last road trip. He's chipped in nicely. Now a base hit here could give the Tigers a few more. Fouled away, 0-2 on Eric.
Tigers playing with a different kind of energy here tonight. It's almost like they can sense the finish line, and they can sense the fact that they've got a really good shot at going to the postseason again after finishing last in the division a season ago.
Well, they got in at 3 in the morning, but it doesn't seem to be slowing them down here. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Duffy finally pitches through the inning. However, the Tigers get a pair of runs. They lead 2 and will go to the second. Comerica Bank, raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. The all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, and by Kroger. Beautiful shot of a beautiful ballpark. Nice night downtown here tonight. Tigers out to a 2-0 lead. Ian Kinsler got it started, drawing a walk and scoring a run. Miguel Cabrera scoring the other, and Michael Fulmer goes back to work. Henry's Morales leads it off.
And Fulmer's come out throwing as many fastballs tonight as Duffy has, and he's been able to command his a little bit better than Duffy, though.
1 ball, 1 strike. Duffy ended up with 35 first inning pitches.
And Fulmer has thrown 14 pitches. He's only missed the strike zone with 4 of them.
Here's the 1-1. They play the shift against Morales. The second baseman Kinsler is deep to the grass. Ibar, the lone defender, to the left of second. 29 homers this year for Morales. Swing and a miss.
Ooh, that changed piece. They are only hitting about 167 against that Vulcan changeup that Fulmer's been featuring this year, and he's throwing it about 17% of the time. Ooh. Well, let's take a look at Fulmer's overall stuff. He's got that blazing fastball going once again here tonight. It's a 4-seam fastball. He'll throw it in, he'll throw it down. Every now and then he will also go upstairs with the mid-90s fastball to get a strikeout. But this changeup, Mario, this is the one pitch that's kind of elevated his game and taken him to a whole nother level. You can see how he grips it. He kind of grips it like Benoit did a couple of years ago in that slide piece. It is one of the best in the majors.
You get some awkward swings on that changeup and that slider as well. There's a strike on Paulo Orlando.
Gave you the numbers on Fulmer. In his first 15 starts, his earned run average was way under 2. In his last 5 starts, he's really struggled. The ERA is over 6, and he's given up 6 homers. I don't know if it's the lack of consistency with, you know, one time he'll have 5 days off, then 6 days off, then 7 days off. I mean, he hasn't made that excuse, you know what I mean? But that has to, at some point in time, take you out of your comfort zone if you're accustomed to pitching every 5th day.
Well, I know that he's told Brad that he wants to pitch every 5th day, and Brad has pretty much flat out said, well, we're going to do it this way because we want to preserve your innings. But I mean, there's
some truth to it.
Well, absolutely, there's no doubt, because Michael wants to go every 5 days and feels that he's strong enough to do it. Swing and a miss.
Do it, Michael Fulmer.
Man, Paulo Orlando is dusted, and there are 2 gone.
He's got that look about him today. Another really good fastball upstairs with outstanding spin rate right past Orlando.
Hey, just to remind you, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Here is Alex Gordon with 2 outs. They will shift against Gordon as well, and he looks at a strike. He is pounding the strike zone tonight. Gordon at 217, not having a Gordon-like year. He broke his hand earlier this season. 1-1 on the Royals left fielder.
Gordon was a free agent this past offseason, and he probably took less money to stay in Kansas City. And there's something to be said where you're comfortable. He grew up with a lot of the players that he plays with now on the current major league roster, and he really didn't want to go anywhere else.
Well, they won a World Series last year, and I'm sure that had something to do with it, and the comfort factor, as you mentioned, probably the other. Here's the 1-2. Gordon thought about it, didn't chase. 2-2.
And Fulmer can go 3 different ways now. All of his pitches have been electric tonight. He can go mid-90s with the fastball. He can throw that slider, or he can fade that changeup down and away from Gordon.
Fulmer in September 0-2 with a 5.50, but that does not appear to be the same guy that's on the hill tonight. Here's the 2-2. Full count out, 3-2, and waiting on deck is Alcides Escobar. And he got him, strike 3. Gordon thought he had a walk. Last Diaz says negative. He strikes out the side. 4 punch outs for Michael Fulmer, Morales, Orlando, Gordon, and a 1-2-3 second. As we go to the bottom of the second, MGM Grand Detroit brings you the scouting report on the last 3 World Series winners and what they did the year after winning the World Series. And as you can see, there's always, well, seemingly somewhat of a hangover.
Yep. I mean, Royals went to the World Series in back-to-back seasons. There's no doubt they've gotten a little worn down at the end of this year, but they've still had a very good year. I know they would like to go to the postseason. They'd like to think they could still get there, but overall, the Royals have not had a poor season.
Saltalamacchia leading things off here against Danny Duffy, who threw 35 pitches in the first. And Salchi looks at a strike on the inside, which appeared to be a little bit too far, but not so, says Las Diaz. Bouncing ball, shortstop side, ranging left is Escobar. 1 away.
Let's take a look at Danny Duffy. We told you he started the season in the bullpen, and because of that, he stretches all the time. But take a look at him. There's no runner on base right now. One time, he will kick the leg up, and then the very next pitch, he will slide step. So what hitters are saying now about Duffy, he has tremendous deception because you don't know whether he's going to slide step or whether he's going to pick that foot up in a more conventional way. And again, he does that when there's nobody on base.
Right. Well, he's got Iglesias here now with 1 out. Duffy came in with some really impressive numbers.
Earlier this year, he struck out 16 Tampa Bay Rays with that kind of delivery that I just showed you. And he gave them fits that night. They could not pick the baseball up off of him because of the deception.
He joined the rotation in mid-May. It's hammered to left field. It's going to get down, go to the corner. Extra bases for Iglesias, and he is rounding second, but he's going to head back. Very aggressive turn there by Jose.
Tigers have 2 hits today, and both hits have come on breaking balls. That is not a bad breaking ball by Duffy. It's down where you want to throw your breaking ball, but a nice job of putting the barrel of the bat on the ball by Iglesias in a real aggressive turn in making and forcing a throw.
And Fulmer, meanwhile, has done everything else for the Tigers as he storms up and down the dugout. He's just been on fire today. He's got that look, as you said.
He does. He's got that Verlander look today.
Here's Ian Kinsler. Walk, went to third on a bad pickoff throw and scored. Tigers have their second hit of the game. They had 1 hit in the first, the double by Upton to score a run. The other 3 base runners via the walks. And there's a strike on the outer edge to Kinsler. Time for the Bernstein advantage, and here are the numbers career for Kinsler against the Royals. 317 with 20 long balls. 64 driven in. He has done some good work against the Royal staff. Ian drives that one foul down the left field line. 0-2. I was chatting with Ian before the game tonight. He really seemed normal. It didn't seem like there were any effects at all from the concussion symptoms that he had. And it's really great news because sometimes, Rod, you don't know how long those are going to linger.
You know, there are some guys that have had those same type of concussion symptoms, and they've lingered for months. Guys have to go on the disabled list, and then they linger to the next year for some guys.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Justin Morneau have had to deal with that. Joe Mauer has had to deal with that.
Right.
Alex Avila. 0-2 on Kinsler. He is such a critical component, though, to the Tigers' success, not just with his bat, but leadership abilities, his defensive abilities. Would not chase there. 1-2.
I was really impressed with all the Tigers' contributions on that last road trip. And they won that Sunday game in Cleveland. Then they won in 3 games at Minnesota. Romine played some outstanding baseball, playing second base in the absence of Ian Kinsler, but a lot of his teammates stepped up in his absence.
On the ground and through, base hit. Iglesias to third. They're going to stop him there. They're not going to run on the arm of Gordon.
You can't run on the arm of Gordon, and it's not so much that he has a strong throwing arm. That Gordon is a infielder by trade. He played shortstop in college, third base in the big leagues as well. So he gets to the ball very quickly because he's got those quick feet, and he also has a very quick release as well, and he's accurate with his throwing arm, and that's what helps him throw guys out. It's not so much the arm strength, but it's the feet and the quickness of him getting to the baseball.
Well, he's used that quickness to win Gold Gloves out there in left field. Now the Tigers threatening again. They've got Cameron Maybin coming up. Only one out. Maybin fly to center field in his first at bat.
Another one of those fly balls would work right now.
Tried to hold up, couldn't do it. Well, the ball he hit his first time up to center field at Dyson would have scored a run easily. So if he gets another one of those, he'll get an RBI. Iglesias at third, Kinsler at first. Maybin looks at a ball outside, 1-1.
If you're Cam Maybin and you're the leadoff hitter and you have the kind of speed that you have, you can bunt something down in that direction toward Cuthbert. He's giving you a lot of room, and obviously Iglesias would see it, and you'd be able to get yourself a hit and an RBI. If you're thinking along those lines. And I think everybody should think that way.
Well, especially guys with the skill set of Cameron Maybin. Ability to bunt, ability to run.
Especially if they're giving it to you.
Here's the 2-1. Instead, he'll throw back to first, chasing Kinsler back in there. Tigers have won 4 straight games, trying to make it 5 in a row. They are in the second wild card position as we speak.
Ned Yost, the manager, called for that throw over on that last pitch. I think he might have been thinking squeeze play.
2-2. Meanwhile, Michael Fulmer on the bench saying, "Get me some more runs. I'll take as many as you can." Maybin had a good series in Minnesota, was 4 for 8. Popped up foul, back out of play. Well, this Duffy now has already reached the 50 plateau. 35 of them in the first inning. And a good portion of those in that first inning were balls. They missed the strike zone quite a bit. We fought that one off to stay alive. Cabrera waiting on deck. Duffy came into this game with an ERA of 2.85 on the road. He's been undefeated at home this year, but pitching well on the road also. Again, back out of play, and they continue to give Duffy fits. Driving that pitch count north. That Duffy fastball has been 94, 95 early in this game. Here's the 8th pitch in this at bat coming up. Missed inside. Full count now, 3-2.
Boy, I don't know what you do here with Kinsler. I mean, you got Miggy in the on deck circle, you got one out. The last thing you want to happen is a strikeout and then Ian be running, not getting a good jump and getting thrown out at second, and Miguel be stranded in that on deck circle.
Runner holding, popped him up.
I like the fact that the runner did not move.
It'll be Escobar, and there are 2 gone. That'll bring up Cabrera. Miggy got that walk on 4 straight pitches. It was not an intentional walk in the first inning, but it might as well have been. Viterra goes out to the mound and talk about how they want to deal with Miguel here.
Good luck.
I mean, what do you say, really? They'll chase Kinsler back.
And Miggy on the recent road trip got hit number 2,500 in his major league career. On that evening when he got that hit, he became the 4th youngest player to get to 2,500 hits. And the other guys on the list are just amazing.
He'll take a ball low. 1 ball and no strikes. Well, Cabrera, certainly, if he avoids injury, which you certainly hope will be the case, we'll get to 3,000.
When do you think, 2019?
I was kind of doing the math on that earlier today.
What'd you come up with?
That's about the area that I came up with.
Look at you, you college graduate. Look at you.
It's called a calculator. Here's a high fly ball to right. It's going to get him out of the inning as Orlando makes the catch, and the inning is over. No runs, couple of hits. Tigers strand 2. All right, Trev, thanks very much. Here, the Tigers are on top 2-0, and you might be wondering, how did the D-backs beat in Baltimore tonight? Well, they're 12-3 against Baltimore since 0-2.
Ooh.
They've had their number.
They really have.
Baltimore right now trailing the Tigers by half a game for the wild card. That is slapped into center field, and a sliding play by Cameron Maybin.
Maybin is one of those outfielders that plays very shallow here at Comerica Park because he knows he has the ability to come in and take away these possible base hits, and he also has the athleticism to go back in and get balls to the wall and into the gaps.
Seven up, 7 down, and Michael Fulmer approves. Here is Chesler Cuthbert. Cuthbert at 276, although he has struggled of late. 4 for his last 23 at bats. This guy can play some third base, though. They have been without Mike Moustakas, who is considered one of the better defensive third basemen. Cuthbert kind of has taken his spot this year and fit right in defensively.
He held his own. At least from a defensive standpoint, he does not take a back seat to Mike Moustakas.
And he's got a cool name too, Cheslor Cuthbert.
He's got a tough name to say though, Cuthbert.
Yeah.
Cuthbert.
Say it fast 5 times. Go.
Can't say it fast 5 times.
You can or you won't. 2-1 on Cuthbert.
Oh, now you're showing off. Now you're showing off. You show off.
2-2 on Cuthbert.
Cheslor is his name.
Chester, there you go. Much easier. Drew Butera waiting on deck. Bouncing ball to short. Easy play there for Iglesias. 2 gone. Hey, see the Tigers play the Indians Monday through Thursday. Get 4 tickets, hot dogs, chips, and drinks for just $16 per person. The weekday value pack. Visit tigers.com/value or call 866-66-TIGER. The Indians coming to town next week. It'll be the final 4-game series of the regular season for the Tigers. Playoff push continues for Detroit. Butera looks at a ball that slides low and away. 1-0.
And first pitch slider there thrown by Fulmer to Butera at 88 miles an hour. That's pretty much where his slider is. His fastball's about 95, slider about 88, and his changeup is about 85 miles an hour.
Low and away, 2-1 on Butera.
Here's where you know a guy has real good stuff. Fulmer's going to throw him a fastball here, and very seldom does he get barreled up, even though he's throwing the fastball in a 2-1 count, and that's not the norm for everybody in the big leagues. Now, there are certain hitters you don't necessarily want to throw that 2-1 fastball to, but I think they're going to give it here to Butera.
He'll line one to center field, a base hit. Well, they gave him a 96. And
that's what happens, though, when you get in that predictable fastball count. Even guys that aren't necessarily doing all that well, they're going to put it in play.
It is, as they say, of course, the big leagues.
Yes, indeed.
And Mr. Butera has a 2-out single. First hit of the ball game for the Royals. That'll bring up Jarrod Dyson.
He'll bunt. You got to pinch the corners when he is in the batter's box. He has outstanding speed.
Bouncing ball to second. Kinsler, easy play. Dyson is out. And the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. On our way to the bottom of the 3rd.
game summary. The Tigers scored a couple of runs in the very first frame. There was an error, a wild throw by Duffy over to first base after he had walked Kinsler. And then Miguel Cabrera on a wild pitch. He got up to second base, and then he went to third base on the error by Butera. And then a huge knock with 2 outs off the bat of Justin Upton, who has now driven in 21 runs in the month of September. Duffy also helped them with 3 walks in that very first inning, and they made 2 errors in the inning.
4, 5, and 6 facing Duffy here in the third. It'll be Victor Martinez to lead things off.
And Duffy, that's been one of the issues this year with him. 10 runs allowed in the very first inning in his 25 starts. That's the one common thing with a lot of good pitchers. You've got to get them early, because once they start to settle in, you don't get them, and Duffy has started to settle in.
Victor skies one in the air to left field, hit pretty well. Gordon going back to the track, to the wall, and gone. Victor Martinez into the bullpen and left, and the Tigers get another run.
He's the modern-day Roy Hobbs, partner.
Hobbling around the bases. Victor's knee certainly not feeling all that good, but it doesn't matter. Number 26 for Martinez.
Tigers have 4 players with 25 or more homers this year. 25 or more by 4 players is the first time it's ever been done in franchise history. Justin Upton, Victor Martinez, Miguel Cabrera, and Ian Kinsler.
That one left at 99 miles an hour.
And the pace that Castellanos was on before he got hurt, he probably would have 25 too, wouldn't he?
Well, how about this guy? JD's got 21. He's got a shot. So if neither Castellanos or Martinez got hurt, you'd have what, 6 guys?
Right.
Ball 1 to JD.
It's like the Boston Red Sox. I believe they got 6 guys with 20 or 25 home runs. That's just a nice little fastball that's outside that Victor's able to just go out and flip to left field over the Tigers bullpen into the first row of seats.
So Martinez gets number 26 and RBI 81. Had that pinch hit home run in Minnesota, and he shoots one into the seats here in left field tonight. JD fouls it off, and the count now 1-2. Tigers did a great job of fouling off a lot of pitches in that first inning. A 35 pitch first inning for Duffy. One and 2 on JD. There are some teams that will play Martinez to pull. They will shift to the left side of the infield. The Royals are not one of them, although they will play slightly to pull, which has opened up the right side of the infield.
Ned Yost is one of those managers that does not like to shift a lot. And we pointed out that Don Mattingly doesn't like to shift a lot. Brad Ausmus, for the most part, does not like to shift a lot. Joe Madden, Mike Scioscia. There's a number of veteran managers that just don't like to shift all that much. But then you have that new age generation of some teams that shift on just about every player on the field.
And every pitch. The Astros would be one of those teams.
Don Mattingly of the Miami Marlins, he doesn't like to shift all that much.
1-2 is chopped toward third, foul. Well, the Tigers got to Duffy with a pair in the first inning. 3 walks, 2 of those came in to score. And Victor Martinez has taken him deep into the bullpen in the left to lead things off here in the bottom of the third. Again, the 1-2. Bouncing ball third base side. Tough short hop pick by Cuthbert, who throws him out, 1 away. Let's check in now with Justin White.
Hey Mario, starting pitchers are supposed to be all business on the days they pitch, right? Well, apparently Danny Duffy does not subscribe to that theory. Earlier today, we were in the Royals clubhouse and noticed that Duffy was charging his cell phone. Only he walked over to find his phone and saw that somebody had replaced his phone with theirs. That somebody Royal shortstop, Alcides Escobar. So what does Duffy do? He takes Escobar's cell phone, takes some athletic tape, and puts it about 15 feet up the wall in the clubhouse. So when Escobar came back, he had no idea where his phone was, but I'm pretty sure it didn't take him long to see that Duffy was having a little bit of fun with it.
You know, you don't normally see that when guys are starting that day. You know, they're in attack mode. They'll throw the headsets on, and the rest of the world is shut out, but not Duffy.
Yeah, starting pitchers are creatures of habit. I mean, they will drive to the ballpark the same way. If they're having success, they will get to the ballpark at the same exact time, put their uniform on at the same time, eat at the same time. I mean, these guys have it down to a science.
2-0 Justin Upton. A run in, 1 out. And Jay Up looks at a strike, 2-1.
You've got a pretty nice regimen going too, though, up in this broadcast booth. You pretty much have stuff kind of at a certain time. You like to do certain things, right?
Absolutely, I do. And when you don't do them at that time, it does mess up your timing, which is more psychological than anything else. There's a strikeout, Upton. RBI double for Jay Up in the first inning. You have never taped my phone 15 feet up onto the wall, though.
Good idea, though. Kind of like that idea.
Don't get any ideas.
Oh,
there's a drive in the air to left field. This one is gonna go. A line drive home run for Justin Upton.
How fast did that bad boy get out of here?
2 homers in this inning. That one got out, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds. Man, does he hit a lot of home runs.
And every time he does make contact, when he hits a home run, the hit speed is at about 109 to 110. That's how fast these days that Jay Up is getting that bat through the strike zone. Oh my goodness. Victor's hit speed was 99 miles per hour. Jay Up's hit speed off the bat 114. So you're absolutely right, Mario. It probably got out in 3 seconds. Oh my goodness. Less than 3 seconds, they're telling us from the truck. You could have hung some laundry on that line drive.
4-0 Tigers lead. Eric Ibar, the batter. In a part of the season where most guys are kind of wearing down a little bit. It's late September, and I know this is a pennant race. The bumps and bruises start to pile up. Upton is playing his best baseball. He is not worn down at all. And he's just been absolutely on fire here the last month. The 1-1 to Ibar. It's a little high. 2 balls, 1 strike. 388 feet, by the way, on that home run by Upton. Here's the 2-1. He chased. 2-2 on Ibar. Eric struck out in the first inning. That closed out the first. Mentioned the Tigers got 4 against Duffy the last time they faced him. They've gotten 4 more tonight. 3-2.
And Duffy just doesn't have it tonight. And we've seen him several times this year. And this is the poorest effort we've seen from him. Just not a lot of good command. But give the Tigers a lot of credit. I mean, they've had some great at-bats tonight against Duffy. They put some great swings on him. But we have seen him better.
Slicing to right field, Orlando. It's going to land foul. Ibar made a bid for an extra base hit down the right field line. Tigers already 5 hits in this game, and 2 of them have left the ballpark. Another nice night for baseball here in Detroit. The season winding down here. 10 to go counting tonight. That is rolled to third base for Cuthbert. Ibar retired, and there are 2 gone. Here is the Meyer playoff push, and the Tigers right now keeping an eye on these scores. Arizona leading Baltimore 2-0 in the 4th.
And you got to love the Arizona Diamondbacks right now, taking care of Baltimore. And now we need New York to step up and take care of Toronto.
Houston, a game and a half back of the wild card spot. They are hosting the Angels tonight. And Seattle, Minnesota in a delay. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does sound familiar. That rain that we dodged. Well, we didn't dodge it the one day, but we dodged it the next day. We were supposed to get rain yesterday, and somehow we played 2 games.
Yeah, good thing. Otherwise, you face the prospect of going back there at the end of the year. Here's the 0-1. Salty takes a strike, and it's 0-2.
And Saltalamacchia so far tonight doing a brilliant job of calling in the game for the youngster Michael Fulmer.
A little bit outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Saltalamacchia grounded out his first time up. Fulmer has a 4-0 lead to work with, and he's given up to this point just 1 hit.
Still got that scowl on his face.
One and 2 on Saltalamacchia. Upton's home run is 27th of the year. The Martinez home run is 26th. Thought about chasing it, did not go. 2-2. That's Bob Davidson down at first base, said he held up.
Balkin' Bob.
Balkin' Bob.
Balkin' Bob Davidson.
That is one of the best nicknames I've heard from.
He called Balkin a minute now.
Here's a 2-2. High 3-2 on Saltalamacchia. Iglesias waiting on deck. Here's the full count pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Inning over. Tigers get 2 runs though. Homers by Martinez and Upton. Well, the Tigers celebrating the 06 AL champs this season. Maglio's in the house. And we'll talk to him next. Live from the booth. The hero of 06. Lead as we go to the top of the 4th inning. Upton and Martinez with home runs to extend the lead. It's this is a great pleasure. Maglio Ordonez is in the house, and of course Tigers fans remember the dramatic home run you had here. You won a batting title, and they're celebrating the 06 AL championship team, Mags. And what does it mean for you to come back to a city really that embraced you when you played here?
Well, you don't have any idea how happy I am when I come back to Detroit. You know, this is my second house. You know, I have some great moments here in Detroit that that every time that I come here, spend time with the fans, with a teammate, the front office. It's always nice to be back, and it's an honor to be back here in Detroit.
Well, get us caught up with you the last couple of years. What have you been up to? How are you staying busy these days?
Well, you know, I'm really busy. I'm a mayor of the city in Venezuela.
The mayor of the city in Venezuela?
Yeah, Puerto La Cruz.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. There was something that happened to me that wasn't in my project, my life project, but that happened. Now I have 3 years. I got 1 more year left, and we'll see what happens after that.
Wonderful.
Infield hit for Merrifield. Fulmer couldn't find the bag here, and Witt able to beat it out. So the leadoff man aboard here in the 4th inning. Well, Maglio, the first thing I've got to ask you is, where did the hair go? I mean, we just all love that hair that you had here your last couple of years. Where'd it go?
The hair is gone. You know, I'm too old to have a long hair, you know.
Oh, you're never too old. Look at me. I'll take that hair.
No, the hair was only when I played. That's it. It was too much maintenance, you know. And now that I have to have my hair short, but I losing a little hair here in my forehead.
No, not at all.
Did you get a chance to get into the clubhouse today to catch up with some of your old buddies, with Miggy and Victor and some of the other guys that you may have played with while you were here?
Yes, I did. I talked to Miggy, talked to Victor, Omar. I meet one of the youngest guys, and I spent a little time over there. Tomorrow I'm gonna spend more time with them, and I hope I was lucky. You know, they're winning right now.
Yeah, right.
Well, Maglio, you know, you came to the Tigers in 2005, and that team was still in kind of rebuilding mode. They had a really tough year 2 years before that. But did you guys feel as a team in 05 that you would get to the World Series in 06? I mean, it kind of happened out of nowhere, and you guys put it together quickly.
Yes. You know, when I signed here, Mr. Illich and Mr. Dombrowski went to Miami to trying to sign me, and when I see those two guys trying to put a winning team together, I say I gotta go to that team because they're trying hard. That city need to a winning team, because I know and I heard before that Detroit always be a baseball fan, and they need a winning team, and they try hard to put a team together, and they did. You know, 2005 we didn't have a good year. You know, we lost 90 games, and then they start more pieces together. They bring Leland, they bring some younger player, veteran player, and they put a good team together, and we won the American League Championship.
So Mr. Illich and Dave Dombrowski, they actually flew down to your home in Florida to talk to you about possibly signing with the ball club.
Yes,
wow.
Yes, they did. And they were really committed to sign me, and committed to put a winning team together.
Kendrys Morales now batting with 1 on and 1 out. Tigers leading 4-0 here. Chatting with Maglio Ordonez, who is in town. The Tigers celebrating their 06 10th anniversary of the 06 AL Championship team. And of course, Mags had, I would say, the most dramatic home run in recent Tigers history, and it's a memory that a lot of Tigers fans have. Maglio, how much or how many times have you since that time gone back and looked at the replay of that home run? Do you relive that home run at all?
Oh yeah. Every 2 weeks, go on YouTube, improve Maglio Ordonez home runs.
At least he's honest.
Yes, but I tell you, it was an unforgettable moment. You know, that home run. You know, the energy, the people screaming, people enjoying the home run. You know, it was amazing. You know, once I hit it, people start screaming.
That's flared into shallow center. It's going to drop, base hit. That'll send the runner to third, and now first and third for Kansas City. And we're going to show that Maglio home run, which of course is etched to the memories of all Tigers fans. And it seemed, Maglio, that once you made contact, you knew it was gone immediately.
Yes.
I mean, you got Polanco jumping around, you got Craig Monroe jumping around, I'm jumping around, Mario's jumping around, and 50,000 people are jumping around.
Yes.
You know, what was it like, though, Max, to play for Jim Leland? Because we've heard that so many of the players that were on that 2006 team that have come back to celebrate what you guys were able to accomplish that year. Several guys have come back, and everybody, man, they just think the world of Jim Leland. What was he like for you?
He was a leader. I'll tell you, he was a leader. He was a teacher. He was a guy who gave you a confidence. He was a guy who was on top of the game, top of the players. he know everything what happened in the clubhouse, in the field. He was a leader, you know. He was like a general because he was running, you know, talk to you and BP, and also before the game, during the game. He was a really guy who communicate with the player, and I think it's very important to communicate with the player because, you know, this game is so hard. You know, sometimes you need somebody to support you because mentally you have to be really strong too.
Right.
And when you got a guy like Leland, you know, it's like you mentor him, do this, you know, give you more, you know, energy to play, double play.
Bouncer up the middle. Iglesias tags back one and a double play. And we'll get him out of the inning. Nice play here by Iggy. He took it himself at second base.
He can play some shortstop, Mags.
Yes, he did.
Maglio, it's a tremendous pleasure to see you. Thanks again. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Thank
You.
You look wonderful, too. Thank you so much for coming.
The great Maglio Ordonez in the house tonight. Still 4-0 Tigers. It's up 4-0 as we go to the bottom of the fourth here in game one of this series against the Royals. Big double play ball off the bat of Paulo Orlando got Fulmer out of any possible trouble. Great to see Maglio Ordonez. I mean, Rod, when you think back to that 06 team, there were so many really good players on that team, but there's something about Mags, the quiet confidence he had and the leadership that he had in that clubhouse. He was fun to be around.
The way he carried himself, I mean, the way that he dressed, the way that he spoke to people, the way that he talked to people, the way that he treated his teammates, the way that he treated us. I mean, he's a pro's pro. There's no question about that.
No doubt. Iglesias getting things started here after turning that double play.
And that was a tough double play to turn, especially with Paulo Orlando running down the line. He was a track star in Brazil before deciding to take up baseball.
He with a double but did not score back in the second. Duffy's thrown a lot of pitches in this game. That's popped up shallow right field. It's going to be Merrifield.
Here's that double play that Iglesias started and turned by himself to get Paulo Orlando. About a three-hopper, gets to Iglesias, he waves Kinsler off, he goes to the bag, and then he jumps up and is able to finish the double play with a firm throw to Miguel Cabrera.
That'll bring up Ian Kinsler now with one out. Ian's had a nice return to the lineup tonight. Walk, single, run scored. And Kinsler looks at ball one high from Duffy. 4 runs on 5 Tigers hits, no runs on 3 hits for the Royals. So this year the Tigers brought back Todd Jones,
right?
Brandon Inge,
yep.
Pudge Rodriguez,
yep.
Maglio,
Simo showed up.
Simo. I mean, it's just a great list of players that provided a lot of joy to this city back in '06.
Carlos Guillen came too, didn't he? Guillen, where did we see Guillen at?
Nate Robertson did. I don't know if we saw Guillen.
We saw Guillen in Florida, I believe. Guillen's been back, though. I do know that. Pudge Rodriguez always has been back.
Polanco.
Yes, Polanco was here.
Too.
Yep.
Here's the 2-1.
Joel Zamaya.
Oh, we forgot about Zamaya. 3-1 now.
Sure, we'll think of another one too here.
Lost him, and again Kinsler is on base, third time tonight. Duffy's walked a boatload of guys. Well, the Tigers host the Royals tomorrow at 1:05, and the aforementioned Maglio Ordonez participating in a pregame Q&A session, part of the season-long celebration of the 10th anniversary of the '06 AL champs. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Here's Maven now with 1 on, 1 out. Cameron fly out, pop up. Another throw back there as Kinsler draws some attention from Duffy. He in 14 stolen bases this year. And now already some action. McCarthy, the right-hander, is heating it up.
Duffy is going to have 100 pitches, and he's not even going to get through the 4th inning with 100 pitches.
That ball lined to left field, hit hard, and that ball is going to go. Oh, Cameron Maven hit a laser to left field.
Cameron Maven trying to do his best Justin Upton impersonation. That might have got out in about 5 seconds off the bat if you can. These boys came to play tonight, Mario. It's almost like since they went a half a game in front of Baltimore last night, they had a lot of fun on the plane. Did not take any batting practice on the field today, but they're taking a lot of batting practice right now.
They are thumping Duffy. 3rd home run of this ball game for the Tigers. And that one into the bullpen quickly. There's a strike called on Cabrera.
And Duffy had 1 start this year against the Boston Red Sox where he gave up 7 runs in Boston. This is his 2nd worst start of the year. That's how good Duffy's pitched all season.
And how impressive the Tigers' output has been tonight. Number 4 in the home run column for Cameron.
111 off the bat of Cam.
Swing and a miss. So Cabrera's out on strikes. It'll be the 4th strikeout for Duffy. Cameron all smiles right now. Why not? This whole Tigers team.
Look at him. I got that.
Is having a whole lot of fun.
I hit that. Look at him. Boy, you know you ought to stop.
Here's Victor Martinez, who had one back in the 3rd. His was a rather pedestrian 99-mile-an-hour hit speed. The home run was number 26. Pulled to third base, and it's going to get by Cuthbert.
Ned Yost is going to have to go get his ace pitcher here tonight. The Tigers have just worn him out.
Second hit of the night for Victor, who's on base for the third time. And then Yo says, get me someone else. It'll be a wall side windows pitching change. And Kevin McCarthy will come in. We'll be back.
The third inning, Jay Up hit a solo shot out of left field. It got out in under 3 seconds. It left his bat at 114 miles per hour. In the fourth inning, it's Cameron Maben. He leaves Earth. He leaves at 111 miles an hour off of his bat, and his got out of the ballpark at just over 3 seconds. And Victor hit that long, majestic shot.
Well, the Royals have to go to the bullpen here, so their ace knocked out of the game in the fourth inning, and it's going to be Kevin McCarthy.
And McCarthy's got a good arm. He's got a fastball that tops out at about 94. He throws a lot of sliders. About 37% of the pitches that Kevin will throw will be the slider, and he also throws a changeup, but not very often.
JD Martinez is 0 for 2. Tigers have opened up a 6-0 lead on the Royals. And JD in the ball game, strikeout, ground out. Little chopper toward the shortstop. Escobar will flip to second. And they'll get the force to end the inning. Tigers hitting the long ball tonight. Victor's gone deep. Upton's gone deep. And Maben joined the party here in the fourth. Well, Michael Fulmer has a 6-0 lead to work with now as we go to the top of the 5th there at Comerica Park. First one is grounded sharply to second, down to an E. Kinsler. And Alex Gordon is out on 1 pitch.
Hey, Michael Fulmer has been nearly first pitch strike on a lot of these Kansas City Royals, and his control today has been outstanding, whether he be throwing the fastball, the slider, that Vulcan changeup. Everything he has thrown has had some late life on it, and the Royals really have not been able to barrel him up at all. And he looks totally different, Mario, tonight than he looked in his last 5 outings. He looks like he is on a straight mission here tonight to get himself another victory.
Well, stuff aside, which obviously is very good tonight, there just seems to be a different aura and demeanor about Fulmer.
You know, Fulmer appeared to be the runaway winner with the Rookie of the Year about a month ago. But now this guy, Gary Sanchez, who is now in New York and hitting home runs every single day, has 19 homers now in about 50 games. He's giving him a run for his money.
He's going to get through a base hit for Escobar.
I mean, he literally is giving him a run for his money, Mario, and he's only been in the big leagues for about 55 days.
Well, personally, I think, and there are a lot of people that think that he shouldn't be getting votes because he hadn't been around all year. Personally, numbers are numbers to me.
I mean, here are the front runners. I mean, you have Gary Sanchez. We just spoke of him. He's got 19 and 38, but he's done it in a very short time. Mazzara of Texas had a nice year. And Naquin's kind of fell off a little bit lately, but he's still doing very well. Fulmer has been tremendous pitching in a rotation that has missed Zimmer and has missed some other guys. Zimmerman, excuse me.
Cuthbert skies one to center field. Cam Maben is there. 2 gone. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price period, Bell Tire. And by Chevrolet, more than you expect for less than you imagine. All right, even though Sanchez has had those great numbers,
right,
and the other guys are putting together very solid seasons, I'm still going to go with Fulmer. And you can call me a homer if you'd like.
No, I'm with Fulmer too. They got to call both of us homers. And this guy's been legit all year long.
He has been so dominant in certain stretches. In fact, I think back to that stretch where he went 33 1/3 scoreless innings.
Ridiculous. And he was pitching against some really good teams too.
The 0-1. And most people will say, well, wait till he starts facing teams for a second time.
Right.
They've seen him, and all of a sudden the numbers will change, but it never did, really.
That scoreless streak for a rookie was he almost surpassed Fernando Valenzuela, who had a 35-inning scoreless streak when he was a rookie for the Dodgers.
Now the 0-2. Swing and a miss.
This stuff is lethal tonight.
Not a good swing by Drew Butera. 6 punch-outs for Michael Fulmer. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. They really are, Steve-O, and it's good to see because the Tigers right now have a lot of energy going on, and you know, you kind of worried a little bit, I think, Rod, coming off that road trip in which the Tigers arrived at 3 a.m. Would they be lethargic today? I would say that's an emphatic no.
No, they were up for the challenge here today against Duffy. Duffy has had an outstanding year. As a matter of fact, about a month ago, Duffy was in the conversation as far as possibly the Cy Young. But today, in just 3 2/3, 7 hits, he walked 4. He also made an error. He threw a wild pitch. 99 pitches in 3 2/3. Real good night tonight for Tigers bats against Danny Duffy.
One of those bats that has had a good night is this guy here, Justin Upton. A couple of hits, including a homer, and he'll look at a ball low.
Yeah, he has doubled and homered here tonight so far.
Tigers have 6 runs, 7 hits. Royals, no runs, 4 hits.
I kind of sensed it was going to be a short night for Duffy when he came out tonight trying to, for whatever reason, he came out trying to bully the Tigers with fastballs. Tigers can hit mid-90s fastballs. They kind of struggle with guys that are 88 to 90 that add and subtract and throw breaking balls and fastball counts. They don't struggle against guys that they know they're going to get a good fastball against. And Duffy didn't pitch tonight. He was more of a thrower this evening.
It looked like he was, as the first inning progressed and the second inning rolled around, was changing it up a little bit.
He did start to change it up. Drew Butera, the catcher, tried to get him going, but the Tigers, they had built up too much steam by then, too much momentum.
Low, ball 3 on Justin Upton. McCarthy came on, got the ground ball to end the 4th. High towering drive to center field. Dyson is on the move. He'll backpedal to the track.
He just missed from hitting that in the bushes too, man.
My gosh. Upton is just on fire. Tigers fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app and take Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball with you wherever you go.
And J-Up, he got himself a 3-2 fastball at 93 miles an hour right down the middle from McCarthy, and he nearly hit it out of the ballpark.
Here's Eric Ibar.
Take a look at this swing. Now, this ball travels 415 feet. Great setup, great weight transfer, just a little bit too high. And he got underneath that one just a little bit too much. You can see the trajectory of the ball when it took off, that it was going to have a difficult time of getting out to straightaway center. There's already been more home runs to straightaway center field here at Comerica Park than any year since this park's inception.
What do you got on that? Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I got my own theories, to be perfectly honest with you. I think the ball's got a little extra giddy up in it this year.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, we're seeing some guys, that ball almost hit Ibar, that are, you know, that are double digits and beyond in home runs that typically aren't.
No, and some of the swings we've seen where balls have traveled out of the yard. But I'm not mad at Major League Baseball. I mean, you have to try to get some offense in the game. The pitchers have really dominated the game the last couple of years. Strikeouts were way up. Batting averages way down.
To the right side of the ground for Merrifield, and Ibar is retired. 2 away now for Saltalamacchia.
Saltalamacchia going with the high pants tonight.
I think he did one of the games in Minnesota.
He did?
Yeah. Fashions change throughout the course of the season.
He's got the pants above the knees.
Ooh, that's the Hunter Pence look.
Yeah, he's making a fashion statement tonight. He's got the new blue shoes on too. Stars and stripes. Look out, Salty. I see you.
Look out, Salty. Check out the shoes, man. Those are nice.
You look at them.
Infield playing to pull on Saltalamacchia, and he'll bang that one off his nice new shoes. 0-2 on Salty.
A little buzz in the air tonight, buddy.
I would agree.
And the crowd is buzzing here tonight. I mean, I can sense the next 10 days are going to be fun. Shouldn't McCann be wearing those? Isn't his name Captain America?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's his nickname.
Yeah.
A little bit outside. 1-2 now on Saul Telemakia. Tigers 7 hits, 3 of them homers, and you know what that means. Curly fries. The 1-2. Got him, strike 3. Laz Diaz took an extra beat to look at it and then punched him out. 1-2-3 for McCarthy. Story of the night, aside from the long balls, Michael Fulmer. He's been awesome this evening. He'll get back to the 6th. Money encounter. Kansas City is without Lorenzo Cain in the lineup. He certainly has been a huge piece of their success in their 2 teams that have gone to back-to-back World Series.
Yeah, they are 12 games under 500 without Lorenzo Cain in the lineup. The batting average is low. The OPS obviously low. He's that guy that makes them go. He runs the bases well. He's got power. He's a good defender. And they really miss him.
The Royals tonight have managed only 4 hits against Michael Fulmer, who goes back to work in the 6th. 6-0 in favor of the Tigers tonight. Jarrod Dyson, the leadoff man. Dyson takes a ball inside. 2-0.
Fulmer hasn't been great with his first pitch strike throwing here tonight. He's 11 of 19, but that really hasn't phased him. It really hasn't thrown his game off. He has not had many 2-0 counts today. Not many 3-ball counts today.
3-0 on Dyson. A couple of ground balls for Dyson. He's 0 for 2. He'll be followed by Merrifield and then Hosmer. And a strike call. It's been a pretty good month of September for Dyson. 358. Chokes up, takes another strike, and the count fills 3-2. Royals need base runners, and Dyson trying to get on. And he got him, strike 3, as Fulmer comes back to punch him out. 1 away. We check in now with Justin White.
Hey, Mario, pretty remarkable to see a big series like this for the Tigers and 3 rookies starting in the series. You got Michael Fulmer, Matt Boyd, and Daniel Norris all going this weekend. And Brent Ausmus earlier today called it the surprise of the season. The contributions of those 3 rookies and how big they have been for this Tigers team. He said they probably wouldn't be in the race if not for Michael Fulmer, Daniel Norris, and Matt Boyd.
Well, there's no doubt, J-Dub, thanks. I mean, it really is kind of amazing when not only do you look at
what these guys have provided, but they are pitching in big, important games and not only keeping their team in the game, but winning those games.
I'm sure it's probably been done before, Mario, but I cannot remember 3 young pitchers, basically all rookies, pitching down the stretch in a rotation and basically pitching that team into the postseason. I mean, this month the guys that are pitching well. Verlander, of course, is the leader of the staff, but where would they be without these 3?
Well, they have contributed a combined 303 innings, so that's pretty significant.
And the way that Daniel Norris has thrown the ball lately, Michael Fulmer's pretty much done it all year, and Boyd has been awfully consistent, but I'm really encouraged with the way that Daniel Norris has been throwing the ball lately.
Well, he was awfully good at Minnesota, wasn't he?
Oh, my goodness. Did he punch out 11 that day?
I believe he did, yeah, against the Twins.
Yeah.
Boyd was really good. Breaking ball stayed up, and it's lined to left, a base hit. 1-out single for Whit Merrifield.
Here's our high-speed pitch, and it is brought to you by Xfinity. A 97 top fastball tonight thrown by Fulmer, in 86 with one of his changeups today. Throwing a harder changeup tonight is Fulmer.
5 hits now for the Royals. Their best opportunity was in the 4th when they had runners at 1st and 3rd, 1 out, but then Orlando knocked into a double play. Really no other legitimate shots before or since. Hosmer takes ball 1.
You have to be careful when throwing Hosmer fastballs at the top of the strike zone. He's a really good high fastball hitter. Most left-handers love the ball at the bottom of the strike zone, but he can cover up and he can cover down.
One
94 right by him upstairs. And the ball coming out of Fulmer's hand tonight just appears to have another gear.
Strikeout flyout for Hosmer this evening.
This weather is very conducive for starting pitching anyway. Temperature about what, 70 degrees at the start of play today. Not cold at all. It's 67 degrees as we speak. Pitchers love to pitch in this kind of weather.
Hosmer shoots that one through into right center field. Going to be a base hit. Merrifield will stop at second, and the Royals now have 2 on.
You know, sometimes you just have to tip your hat to the hitter, and that's the case here. This is not a bad pitch by Michael Fulmer. It's an off-speed pitch. It's at the bottom of the strike zone, but look at Hosmer go down and get it. And not only did he go down and get it, but he went down and got it and hit an absolute seed right past Ian Kinsler.
So Fulmer now trying to get through the middle of the lineup. Kendrys Morales, the cleanup man, will step in.
Starting to see more and more guys with the leg kick. Hosmer's got the leg kick. We just saw that kid Buxton with the leg kick. A lot of young players adopting that approach of the leg kick these days. The high leg kick, I should say. Here's where there's no panic whatsoever in Michael Fulmer. In these particular situations, he can throw a ground ball, and most often times he does so.
Ground ball fair.
Hello.
Miggy spins to second one. Relay! Got him a double play.
About Michael Fulmer.
A 3-6-1. Fulmer covers at first base, and the inning is over. Boy, Cabrera, nice spin play here and a perfect feed to Iglesias. A lot of discussion here. Brad Ausmus came out to argue and said, we believe they took too long to decide to challenge that play.
And Brad was very animated when he was having that discussion with all 4 of the umpires.
I believe the Royals are challenging the ball was bobbled at first base on the relay throw by Fulmer. We'll see.
And I couldn't really tell there, but it appears that they're right.
It looked like he was juggling that baseball when the out call was made. But the Tigers argued that they didn't do it in a very quick manner.
Well, I guess Brad must have lost that, huh?
Apparently so, because they are challenging, or allowing the challenge, I should say. Tigers are already back into the dugout. It sure looked like he was juggling it there. We'll see what they decide. That right now stands as a 3-6-1 double play. That's the call on the field out at first base.
This might be the best look right here. Didn't look like he caught it cleanly.
Yeah, he kind of just forced it onto his wrist and smothered it.
I think what's throwing everybody off, at least on the replays, is it looks like after he reaches for it, he doesn't catch it cleanly, but it looks like he has it right now. But then he takes the ball close to his body to make sure that he has it, but it looked like he had it secured in the glove, to me.
Well, let's see what New York decides on this. They're looking at this play over and over.
The only one that really knows is Michael Fulmer.
And he ain't telling right now.
He knows whether he caught it or not.
Here's the decision. Safe. They said he did juggle it. Man, Fulmer's going to have to go back out there now. He had been cooling down, and the Tigers will have to retake the field, so it is not a double play.
Well, Brad cannot argue this now. He's going to run the jeopardy of getting kicked out of the game if he carries on too much of a conversation here with the umpire.
Yeah, he's got to tread lightly here on how he. I mean, he could probably go back to make his initial point and not argue the call itself. And you can clearly say that, or see that he's saying, look, my team was back in the dugout. They only have so much time. And I don't think that Brad feels that Ned Yost came out and said, hold on, we want to look at this right away.
Which is the common courtesy,
right,
that every manager has been showing to one another. Yeah, he never caught it.
No. And by that time, the runner, you can see Morales was through the base and by the base. So Fulmer is out there warming up now, and the inning is still alive. It'll be a fielder's choice, leaving runners at first and third. Fulmer, meanwhile, was in the dugout in cool down mode. There's Les Diaz, the home plate umpire, on your right. Crew chief is Dan Iasonia, the second base umpire tonight.
Well, Brad must have come out and asked them to review something else here, Mario. I mean, I don't know what else it could be. We're not privy to that information, but Brad had a conversation with the umpires, and now they've gone back to look at something else.
So the initial challenge was won by the Royals. Now the umpiring crew in New York will look at another issue that Brad has presented.
Now, do you have any idea what that could be?
I don't know if they're trying to see when the call was made by Ned Yost to actually challenge the play. I don't know if that's reviewable. I mean, you have to, I think, alert the umpire to say, hey, we're looking at it, hang on here. And Ned didn't seem to do that right away. The Tigers left the field. Everybody thought it was a double play. Then all of a sudden Ned came out and said, wait a minute, we want to look at it. Other than that, I'm not sure what else they're looking at here. All right, now there goes Diaz, and Dan Iasonia, the crew chief, back to Brad Ausmus.
Well, Michael needs to throw a pitch or two.
Yeah, he's been warming up, and now he's just watching the argument here. So it's going to be a fielder's choice, first and third, and we'll try and figure out and get the information on what Brad was challenging. And we're on the horn right now to New York to get some clarification from the command center. We'll pass that along as soon as we get it. In the meantime, the inning is still going here for the Royals. Paulo Orlando is the batter. First and third and 2 outs. Tigers on top 6-0 here. Orlando is 0 for 2. Double play ball and a strikeout. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
And last time we saw Orlando, he was leading off for the Kansas City Royals and playing some outstanding baseball. He is struggling a little bit, still hitting .292, but now batting at the bottom of the order. At least he was initially batting at the bottom of the order, but then when Sal Perez was scratched today, they bumped him back up to 5th today. That would be Orlando.
1 ball, 1 strike on Paulo. 11 RBIs in the month of September. He's been driving in some runs. He's got runners at first and third. Bouncing ball right side, and Kinsler sprawling play, but he has no play at any base, and a run will score.
And the challenge worked out for Ned Yost.
An infield single for Orlando's 40th RBI of the year. The Royals are on the board now 6-1.
It's a great effort here by Ian Kinsler, but once you leave your feet, if you're Kinsler, once you have to leave your feet to secure the baseball, you know you're not going to get an out at first base, not with Orlando running.
(6-1). They'll bring up Alex Gordon. 2 on, 2 out.
And Fulmer still dialing it up to 96 miles an hour, 80 pitches into this contest.
Here's the 0-1. Rolled foul. Now it's 0-2 on Gordon. Fulmer last year threw a total of 124 2/3 innings. This season he's up to 164. Was at 164 coming in.
They said that they wanted him to land somewhere in the 175 range, and that's going to happen probably during the regular season, and maybe not that close, but as the Tigers get to the postseason, he's going to be one of the guys that's going to get the ball. You know that. So he's going to pitch quite a few innings this year, but he does not look to me like he's tiring at all.
Swing and a miss, and he's able to dust Alex Gordon. He'll settle for 1 run, 2 men left. On our way to the bottom of the 6th. of the bottom of the 6th inning. We received some clarification on what Brad Ausmus was asking the umpires to do. Here's the initial call, which that challenge was won by the Royals. The ball was clearly bobbled there by Michael Fulmer. Meanwhile, here's Ned Yost coming out and saying he wants to challenge it. Now, Brad Ausmus was saying he did not do it in a timely manner, so this is not a reviewable play. But the umpires just asked New York for some clarification on it. They didn't go back and check it or put a timing to it or a stopwatch to it. But Brad just went out there and said, look, he's got to do it quicker than that. And that's what that was all about. So in the end, the Royals got a run out of it. And here is Peter Moylan checking in now in a wall-side windows pitching change.
Hey, Moylan has pitched in 45 games this year. Earned run average sits at 3.70. And 31 strikeouts for Moylan. He's walked 14 this year.
Ooh, look out. Down goes the catcher. And Drew Butera, I don't know if he was crossed up or what happened there. But he was drilled.
Hit him in the knee. He's walking like he got him in the knee.
He had to be crossed up there.
How you get crossed up with nobody on base?
Good question. Yeah, he was not expecting that. We mentioned Perez, Sal Perez, their starting catcher, did not start tonight because of a sore knee.
And his knee's sore too now.
Well, they do still have Tony Cruz on their bench, a third catcher.
They got him on the inside of the knee. Very seldom do you see guys get crossed up when there was absolutely nobody on base.
And Butera appears to be okay, although walking gingerly back behind the plate.
And Moylan's fastball tops out at about 90 miles an hour. You can see he's a side armor, so he also has a slider. So he's pretty much sinker slider. He does have a cutter and a changeup, but he does not throw those two pitches with the same kind of frequency as he throws his fastball and the slider.
Ian Kinsler's probably saying, just run some dirt on it. Let's go.
You know it.
Here's the 1-0. Iglesias takes a strike.
And because we've literally seen him rub some dirt on some stuff, Kinsler, and ground ball in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Last time we were there.
Who needs a Band-Aid or stitches? There's a strike. Bender that drops in to Iglesias, 1-2.
Yeah, the umpire, the second base umpire, was trying to get Ian Kinsler to go to the dugout so he can get a Band-Aid or eat something. I just rub some dirt on it. Man, I'm old school.
Little bouncer to the third baseman, Cuthbert to his left. Oh, he threw it away. And that appeared to hit Iglesias as he was crossing the bag. Might have got him on the arm.
Got him in the hand too somewhere.
That was the third error of the game now for the Royals.
Ouch.
He's going to bring Kevin Rand out now. Got a lot of boo-boos in this inning. Ouch. Kevin Rand now checking out the right hand. Apparently is where Iglesias was hit. Cuthbert made the play off to his left, and with a good throw gets him. So that is the third error of the night for KC. And Iglesias is all right.
We talked about the fact that Cuthbert plays a pretty good third base. Mike Moustakas went down with an injury this year, but he has been really steady there. He has very quick feet, and he knows he needs to have quick feet because of the fact that Iglesias runs. But take a look where the arm goes, the arm slot. The arm slot goes down, and when he releases that ball, it just kind of sails on him. He's got to get on top of that ball when you're throwing that ball across the diamond. And so that's how he made that miscue. And a wise decision by Hosmer not to reach into the baseline there.
Here is Kinsler. Ian's had a nice night in his return to the lineup. He has walked a couple times, and each time he's come around to score. He's also singled. Tigers lead at 6-1. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Two 2-0 now on Ian. Duffy knocked out of this game in the 4th. McCarthy came on, and then Moylan. Here's the 2-0. Tigers tonight have 7 hits, but 3 of those have been big ones. Home runs for Martinez, Upton, and Maben. Victor Martinez, that is. Line to left field. It's going to get down. Base hit. Iglesias goes to 3rd, and Kinsler is into 2nd with a double. 2 on, nobody out.
And Moylan throws from underneath, and he just flips a little frisbee up there to Ian Kinsler, and Ian Kinsler turned on it in the left center field gap. Nice job and by the left fielder Gordon getting there. You can see Kinsler get set very early with that front foot. Then he recognized breaking ball, kept his hands back, hit a seed into the left center field gap. Nice play. And by Gordon to get there to cut it off to make sure Iglesias couldn't score on the 27th double of the year for Kinsler.
Ian on base for the 4th time in this game, and Maben swings and misses.
A little slower breaking ball thrown that time from Peter Moylan.
Moylan a lot of years with the Atlanta Braves, also time with the Dodgers.
And Tigers trying to get that run right back.
Chopper to 3rd, Cuthbert. And Maben is out. Runners will hold.
Now they've got to walk Miguel Cabrera here to make sure the game does not get out of hand. Even though Victor's in the on-deck circle, you pretty much have to think about walking Miggy and then pitching to Victor, I would think.
I'm with you on that. It would be the 14th intentional walk of the year if they do it.
And if they don't do it that way, they will flip it. They'll pitch to Miggy, try to get him out, and then walk Victor.
Infield in a couple of steps.
Well, Miggy's going to drive in both of these runs.
Well, he sure is. There's ball 1. Unless they give him the same treatment they gave him back in the 1st inning, give him nothing to hit.
Right.
And they ended up walking him in the 1st. Missed again. 2-0. Cabrera looks at a strike on the outside corner. Barely caught the corner. 2-1. Three and 1 now. David Ortiz, by the way, still leads the American League with 14 intentional walks than Cabrera. They have not given Miggy much to hit in this at bat. Tonight is 0 for 2 with a walk. Way outside. That's ball 4. That'll put him on. So they'll load him up. The Tigers host the Royals this Sunday at 1:10. It's Sunday Kids Day. All kids 14 and under receive a free Victor Martinez pencil set. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Now Victor stands in. He is homered and singled and walked tonight. And Moylan trying to induce a ground ball here. Iglesias, Kinsler, and Cabrera aboard. Ball 1. Tigers tonight 2 out of 7 with men in scoring position. .215 hits now, the most among actives against the Royals career.
Johnny Peralta makes the list.
Let's see, kind of varied list there. AJ Brzezinski, Joe Mauer. Here's the 1-0. Outside 2-0.
Well, he pitched around Miguel, and he's got no place to put Victor. Victor with already 1 home run today. These situations when Victor finds himself 2 balls and no strikes, he simply looks to pull the baseball. He opens up his hips very early, hoping to get something inside, and if you give him what he's looking for, he usually doesn't miss it.
Missed outside, 3-0.
He homered yesterday on a 3-0 pitch. You think he'd do it again?
Sure, this one would be a grand slam. Now the crowd getting into it. Victor dialed in, waiting on the 3-0. He'll take, it's a walk, ball 4, and that will drive in another run. His second RBI of the night. Iglesias comes around to score. 7-1 Tigers. Ooh, not a good ratio. Victor now with 82 RBIs on the year. More action. Got a left-hander warming up. Scott Alexander tuning up now in the bullpen. There's 6 walks now for KC pitching tonight. Bends outside to JD Martinez.
Tigers have gotten themselves in hitter-friendly counts all night long, and JD Martinez is sitting in another predictable fastball count.
Grounded foul. The count levels now. 1 ball, 1 strike. JD trying to join the party tonight. He's 0 for 3.
Well, it is Friday night.
That's a good point. Join the party.
Got a little extra change in your pocket.
Just got paid?
Yeah.
The 1-1. 1-2 now, JD.
JD has been just a little off the last 3 or 4 days. A little tardy on some fastballs, out in front of some breaking balls, but with his swing and the consistency of his swing, he doesn't go too many days before he's able to figure it out again. Just how good the swing is of JD Martinez. But he has been out of whack a little bit.
High fly ball into shallow center field. Dyson coming in. Runner tagging at third. Catch is made, and the throw will come into third base. It'll be deep enough to get a run in. Sac fly RBI for JD Martinez.
I mean, if you're Dyson in that situation, you've got to give a better effort than that. The ball is, it's not that deep, and you have to throw the ball home. You never know what's going to happen to the base runner. He might trip and fall. You never know. You got to throw that ball home. You got to show a better effort than that.
I'm glad you said that. I was kind of hesitant, but I thought initially off the bat, well, we got to play at the plate here if he wants to throw it home.
I mean, he's got quite a few assists this year, but he just made no effort there to throw that ball home.
So the Tigers get another run. It's an 8-1 ball game. And here is Justin Upton. Swing and a miss.
Here's one more look at the play. I mean, ball not that deep, and he doesn't get behind it. He just basically catches it flat-footed. Granted, he may not have thrown in and out, but you'd like to see the effort.
And Butera can't find this one. That'll move the runner up to third, leave him at the corners now as Cabrera moves up. Been a sloppy game for the Royals tonight.
How many times have we said that the last few years regarding the Royals? We don't ever say that about the Kansas City Royals.
Not very often. This is a team that has always been very good defensively. That's a wild pitch, but they've committed 3 errors tonight.
I mean, they run the bases well. They pitch well. But not tonight.
1 ball, 1 strike. One and two on Justin Upton. Doubled in a run in the first, homered in the third. The hot streak for Upton down the stretch continues. Justin now has hit safely in 6 straight. And he got him, strike 3. Upton knew it. Down he goes, and that is that. Tigers, though, get 2 more as we go to the 7th inning. All Tigers tonight. Baseball, David Ortiz, 2 RBIs tonight against Tampa, 124 for the season, the most in a player's final season since 1920.
He is on another planet, really, David Ortiz.
So is Freddie Freeman right now. He's got a 27-game hitting streak.
That much would be true.
And the Brewers a triple play tonight against the Reds. Well, the Tigers lead this one 8-1 as we go to the 7th inning, and it's a ball low and away to Alcides Escobar. Looks like Andrew Romine is taking over now for Iglesias at short.
Iglesias was hitting on his throwing hand, wasn't he?
He was. running down the line on that throwing error by Cuthbert. Iggy out of the game. Bottom three facing Fulmer here in the 7th.
Romine doesn't get a chance to play shortstop all that often. He's played some third. He's played a lot of second lately, but doesn't get a chance to play his natural position all that often.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Foul back out of play.
Romine said when he was a kid, when he would go to Angels games, his dad would take him to Angels games when Omar Vizquel was playing for the Cleveland Indians, and he said his dad told him to watch every move that Omar makes at the shortstop position. Watch him all batting practice. Watch him during the course of the game. Because his dad, Kevin, who played in the big leagues, felt like, and obviously he was right, that Omar was one of the best defenders in baseball.
9 strikeouts now for Fulmer. You want to emulate a guy at a certain position, you cannot go wrong with Vizquel at short.
And then one of the final years that Romine spent playing for the Angels, Omar Vizquel was the minor league roving infield instructor, so he had a chance to work closely with Omar at that particular time. And then he comes to the Tigers, and then Omar shows up.
And Romine has done, really, as we've mentioned over and over, a really good job wherever they put him on the diamond. Cuthbert looks at a ball outside, 1-1.
That ball always seems to find him wherever he goes. As soon as he enters the game, he usually gets a ground ball or two.
Pulled through the left side of the infield, base hit for Cuthbert.
That was a hanging breaking ball there, thrown by Fulmer, one of the few breaking balls he's hung here tonight.
Hey, the push for the Major League Baseball postseason heats up on Fox. Divisional rivals collide in the race to the postseason when the Royals battle Miguel Cabrera and your Tigers tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on Fox, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Tigers, of course, have that second wild card right now, trailing Toronto for the top wild card position. Baltimore a half game back. High fly ball right field. JD calling and catching, 2 outs. Orioles, if they lose tonight, will have lost 5 in a row. Tigers have taken advantage of their cold streak with a hot streak of their own.
Yeah, they just got swept by the Cleveland Indians.
There's a swing and a miss by Dyson. Two grounders and a strikeout for Gerard Dyson. Good pitch on the outer edge. He got the call there.
You think this is going to be in Michael's final inning? He's up to 93 pitches.
I think it's probably a good chance. 8-1 score. Here's the 0-2 coming up to Dyson. Slap foul.
Now, my opinion is that if he does leave after 7, as we take a look at some scores first, Arizona still leading the Baltimore Orioles, and Toronto still over the New York Yankees. Houston is also trailing the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Now Dyson waiting on an 0-2, way high, 1-2.
Well, you might as well save a few throws in the arm of Fulmer, because it's starting to look like, if they continue to play the way that they're playing, they're going to get to the postseason. So if you can save him an inning or two here or there down the stretch, it might help him into the postseason if they're fortunate enough to do that.
That is why Alex Wilson is warming up. I would agree with you 100%. If this is a 2-1, 3-1 game, probably a different story.
I wasn't thinking Wilson on an 8-1 game, though.
No, that's a good point. Brad said before the game today, we're going with our guys because somebody brought up Mark Lowe pitching very well, and Brad said, yeah, I mean, it's been a big boost for us, but to be honest with you, down the stretch, I'm going to have to go with the guys right now that we have slotted in, guys like Alex Wilson, Guys like Shane Green, of course, Frankie Rodriguez, Bruce Rondon. Those guys have all gotten it done at the back end of the pen. Out of play, 1-2 the count stays.
Well, that's pretty much his four core at the back of the game. Wilson, Green, Rondon, and K-Rod, and also Justin Wilson. Last couple of times he's gone out there, he's thrown the ball very firm. I was very encouraged with Justin Wilson's outing yesterday. He threw some good breaking balls, and his fastball had a whole lot of life on it too at 97.
Dyson just getting a piece. Both teams have 8 hits in this game. The difference, the Tigers have hit 3 home runs. They lead 8-1. Whit Merrifield waiting on deck. Pulled foul. Bob Davidson center went outside the bag. Fulmer now about to throw his 100th of the night. And it missed. Pretty consistent most of the night for Michael Fulmer. Here's the 2-2. Fouled straight back.
Fulmer 101 on the pitch and department, still throwing 96, 97 miles an hour.
The Indians' magic number is 4. They are winning big time tonight. They're trying to clinch the division. Of course, they'll be in town next week. There's a bouncer to second base, and Kinsler goes to second. They'll get the force there. Tigers in command tonight. Coming up, the McLaren Health Plan 7th inning stretch.
pitch by pitch. Michael Fulmer came out today, had a different look in his eye, and he's punched out 9 Kansas City Royals already this evening. He's gotten several on the fastball. He's gotten up to 97 with that pitch, but that slide piece was absolutely filthy here tonight. Not many changeups today here thrown. He has simply tried to and has been overpowering Kansas City hitters here this evening.
Here's our game summary. Victor Martinez 2 out of 2 with a solo homer in the third. Upton is also homer to this game, and Michael Fulmer certainly has been the story otherwise. 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, and 0 base on balls. Here is Chris Young to take over now on the hill for the Royals.
It's been a rough year for Young. He's pitched 85 innings. His ERA sits at 6.46. Lots of high fastballs, breaking ball, changeup thrown for Young. Raul Mondesi takes over at shortstop. Raul Mondesi Jr.
Eric Ibar, the batter. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ibar, Saltalamacchia, then Iglesias. Well, it's not going to be Iglesias. It'll be Romine in Iggy's spot. There's the ball that darts outside. 2-1. Ibar is 0 for 3. 2 grounders and a strikeout. Young veteran right-hander, has been around with a lot of different teams. 3 balls, 1 strike. And a strike on the outer edge.
Young has pitched very well in his career against the Tigers. In 7 starts, we've never beaten him, and his ERA is 1.65. So we gave you his overall numbers this season, 6.46 ERA, but for whatever reason, he pitches good baseball against Detroit.
He has just given up a leadoff walk to Ibar. That'll bring up Saltalamacchia. Chris Young stands 6'10", 260 pounds.
He's the tallest player in our sport, isn't he?
Believe so. Salty in the ball game is 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts.
Even though he is 6'10", he does not throw very hard. His top fastball is about 86, 87 miles an hour. He also has a slider. Does not really throw a curveball or a changeup. Pretty much just fastball, slider thrown by Chris Young.
Dallas, Texas. Hometown for big Chris Young. Won 11 games last year for the Royals. Threading the outside corner there, 1-2. Danny Duffy started tonight for the Royals, just did not have it. Tigers knocked him out in the 4th. It'll bounce in and smothered by Butera.
Yes, Butera, Drew Butera's dad, also caught in the big leagues. His name is Sal. He is now on the coaching staff for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Popped up. Cuthbert drifting on the grass, dropped it. They might have a play at second, and they'll get the force. Wow. It has been one of those nights for the Royals defense. They're fortunate they got the force at second base.
He called for it. He just didn't catch it.
And Young alertly got to the ball and got the force at second. Yeah, that even happens in the big leagues. 0-1 on Romine. That's a 5-1-4 putout if you're keeping score at home. How many times have you ridden that down?
The old 5-1-1-4.
Swing and a miss. 0-2 on Romine. First at bat of the night for Andrew, taking over for Iglesias, who left the game. He was hit on the hand on an errant throw by Cuthbert. Swing and a miss, and down he goes.
Here is the 1-800-CALL Sam call of the game. Mario told you Danny Duffy, their starter, did not get off to a good start. He walked Kinsler, then he threw the ball away. Ian Kinsler was able to get up to third base, and then Miguel Cabrera on a wild pitch. He's able to get to second base. Then the throw by Butera in the center field. Miggy goes to third. Then Justin Upton with a huge 2-out knock to drive in Miguel Cabrera, and the Tigers off and rolling in the first tonight.
A little bit outside, 1 ball and no strikes on Kinsler. Walk single, walk double. I would say that's a pretty good return to the lineup tonight. Ian's also scored 3 runs. He's gone over 100 again this year. He's got a 109 now. Good rip there by Ian on a 2-0 pitch, and he fouled it straight back. Got action. Blaine Hardy. Also has some word on Mr. Iglesias, a right hand contusion.
And let me guess, he's day to day.
Well, before we say that, X-ray's negative, and then day to day. That's how the order usually goes. Yeah, he is. So just a bruised hand right now. X-ray is negative on Iglesias. 2-2 on Ian Kinsler. Swing and a miss. Tipped it into the glove for strike 3. Inning is over. No runs, a walk, 1 left. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. On Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. Great night for baseball here in downtown Detroit, and so far so good. The Tigers with a comfortable lead as we go to the 8th inning. It's 8-1 Tigers, and to the bullpen they go. It'll be left-hander Blaine Hardy.
And Blaine Hardy pitching in his 18th game of this season. He's logged 21 2/3 innings. The ER sits at 4.15, 18 strikeouts, 9 base on balls for Blaine Hardy.
Whit Merrifield will lead it off for the Royals. 2 out of 3 tonight for Merrifield. Fulmer goes 7. Now Hardy here in the 8th. Two, 3, and 4. Merrifield, Hosmer, and Morales. Let's see if that one's going to drop. It will foul, and then back into the seats. Blaine Hardy, along with Alex Wilson last year, really kind of burst down the scene and gave Brad some quality innings.
He throws a lot of strikes. Yeah, he very seldom beats himself on the mound. That would be Hardy. He pitches to quite a bit of contact, but he's also been able to locate pitches in an area where he doesn't get hurt very often.
A career high 3 1/3 on the 15th against Minnesota with 1 strikeout.
And Hardy's got a fastball that gets up to about 90 miles an hour, average heater about 87. He also has a slider. He has a curveball, and he throws quite a few changeups, 21% changeups.
Shortstop Romine gobbles that one up.
That was a changeup right there thrown by Blaine Hardy.
1 away as we check out the out of town scoreboard again, and we see that Arizona now leads Baltimore 2-1. That game is in the bottom of the 9th inning. Ooh, it was 2-0. And New York is now trailing in Toronto 7-0. Blue Jays have the top wild card spot.
Yeah, Blue Jays with a 7-0 lead over New York. That means that kid Gary Sanchez hasn't done anything tonight.
He hasn't homered. We're pretty sure of that. Here's Hosmer. Hosmer's really been struggling now. 8 for his last 46. That is a 174 average.
Really?
He'll pull that one into right field. And JD hauls it in. 2 gone. Now Kendrys Morales. One for 3 for Morales. So the Royals, if they lose here tonight, would drop to 500 on the year. And we've talked about how going to back-to-back World Series will oftentimes have a drag on your season.
Yeah, they've had to use the disabled list quite a few times this year with some of their pitchers that have really carried them of the last couple of seasons. And while they've had those very impressive late runs into the postseason.
Way outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
The Royals are not that far off from being a very competitive team once again in the American League Central in 2017. Their rotation is going to be very good with Ventura and Duffy and Volquez, Ian Kennedy.
Got a huge swing there by Morales.
And that bullpen's always good too, so they may not be having the kind of year this year that they've desired, but they will be right back in the thick of things next season.
Perez did not play tonight and was originally in the starting lineup, but he plays every single day.
And many regard him as the best catcher in the sport right now, Salvador Perez. They've got a decision to make on Morales, though. He's a free agent after this year, isn't he?
He is.
He's had 2 nice years for.
He'll pull that one into left field, base hit.
For Kansas City.
2-out single for Kendrys, his 2nd hit tonight. Well, the most popular way to follow the Tigers postseason push is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Get MLB.com at bat on your favorite devices now. Here's Paulo Orlando. Ball 1.
Orlando's a wonderful story. I mean, he's a kid that didn't play a whole lot of baseball growing up in Brazil. As a matter of fact, he was a track star in Brazil. And the White Sox worked him out in Brazil. They signed him. He spent a number of years in their minor leagues, and before finally making his way to Kansas City and onto their roster last season.
You know, it's funny, some guys get in the minor leagues and they kind of realize that they might just be an organizational player that are probably going to play in the minors most of their career, and maybe some play 5, some play 6 and call it a career. He was in the minor leagues 9 seasons.
Yeah, he was learning how to play the game. He really didn't know how to play the game of baseball when he came stateside, because he really hadn't played that much. But give him credit. They say this guy's work ethic is tremendous. Works extremely hard.
Orlando had over 3,800 minor league at-bats before he got to the big leagues. Waits on a 2-1.
Ooh, nice little bender there at 76 miles an hour. Dropped in there nicely by Blaine Hardy. There's a grip. Spun off the hands nicely.
Orlando thought it was inside. Swing and a miss. Blaine Hardy takes care of Paulo Orlando. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Tigers coming up in the bottom of the 8th. Tigers have the lead 8-1 here as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Cameron Maben will get it started for the Tigers, and Daniel Nava is the new first baseman. Now Hosmer out of the ball game. It'll be Maben who has a 2-run homer in 4 at-bats tonight. Young goes back to work and a stroke to right field and caught on the run by Orlando.
He's a great defender. We just got finished talking about him and his work ethic and how hard he works, and it shows up for him on the defensive end. This ball had triple written all over it, but take a look at the direct line that Orlando took to get to that ball, and that's the only way that he makes the play. If he cuts straight across the outfield, there's no way he gets there.
The speed of Paulo Orlando outran that ball. And a direct route as well, cut off a sure triple.
For sure.
Miggy shoots one on the ground into left, base hit.
Just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, and it is brought to you by Miller Lite. The Tigers have been flexing their muscles all night tonight as far as the home run ball is concerned. It started against Danny Duffy. That was early in the game when Victor flipped one over his team's bullpen into the first row of seats. Then Justin Upton, he hit an absolute laser out of the ballpark. And then Cam Maben also hit a seed into the bullpen of the Kansas City Royals.
Machado now pinch running and Moya pinch hitting. Steven fouls it off.
Five homers, 11 RBI for Moya in 28 games this year at the major league level.
I'm not sure it's possible. It looks like he's gotten even bigger.
Who, Moya?
Yeah, than he was when he first got here.
There are two big guys out there right now. You got Young at 6'10", you got Moya about 6'7".
It's a pretty good front line.
Young did play some basketball in college.
Princeton.
He's an Ivy Leaguer. He's a bright fella.
Moya chasing.
That's what he does a lot of. He throws lots of fastballs upstairs because he stands 6 feet 10 inches as a hitter. You're always thinking the ball's going to come down in the strike zone, but he does not throw the ball down. He throws lots of fastballs up. They look good to the hitter. The hitter continues to swing, and he gets himself some strikeouts because of that.
J.D. Martinez, sacrifice fly in the 6th, knocked in a run. He is 0 for 3 otherwise. Tigers 8 runs, 9 hits. Royals 1 run, 9 hits. But KC has committed 3 errors. Bouncing ball left side. Mondesi goes the long way and gets the out. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the 9th. That game, the Orioles trailing the Tigers by a half game for that second wild card position, so hopefully Arizona can come back and win that game. And here is the upcoming matchup presented by Gordon Chevrolet. Tomorrow in game 2 here is Daniel Norris and Yordano Ventura.
The Tigers have not beaten Ventura yet. He has been a thorn in their side. He throws 98 miles an hour with an electric slider. Daniel Norris also has a big arm. He's been very good lately, 3-2 with a 3.63 ERA. So tomorrow's matchup is a good one too.
Tigers going back to the bullpen now, and here is Mark Lowe.
Lowe has been pitching some really good baseball lately. He's been in 54 games now. The fastball, the velocity's back up to 95. He's thrown some really good sliders in his last 10 outings or so. Much more depth on that pitch.
Gordon leads it off for the Royals here in the 9th inning. Tigers 3 outs away from a win.
It'll be the 5th consecutive win for the Tigers, second hottest team in baseball behind the Boston Red Sox.
I like it. Here's the 1-0. Ripped to right field, base hit, maybe more. JD over to cut it off, but he's going to hold him to a single. Leadoff man on here in the ninth. Tigers have made a bunch of defensive changes. McGee now playing third. Machado is staying in the game at short. Ibar will shift to second. Romine will shift to first. Pop up off the bat of Mondesi. Machado to the grass. One gone. Here is Chesler Cuthbert. Ball one outside. Orioles almost won that game in the bottom of the ninth. They had a runner, J.J. Hardy, thrown out at the plate.
Did they really?
Yeah, on a single by Adam Jones. So it's still a 2-2 tie, with the Orioles still batting in the ninth. Here's the 1-0 to Cuthbert. A little bit outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Hardy in the 8th, and now Lowe here in the 9th. Michael Fulmer's 7 strong innings again tonight for the Tigers. He struck out 9. Cued foul. 2-1 on Cuthbert. Foul, back out of play.
I understand you're going to take a little road trip tomorrow, since we got a little day off, huh?
Tonight, headed to East Lansing right after this game.
You're going to be hanging out on, what is it, the banks?
On the banks of the Red Cedar. Yep.
Huh?
Michigan State, Wisconsin tomorrow.
Look at you, boy. Look at you.
Oh, I can't wait. Hopefully the Tigers will get a win here. We'll come back Sunday with the national game tomorrow. Got some time off. There's a ball high.
Now, had you told me you were going to drive up there and you were going to sit in the parking lot, you were going to bring out the grill and
you would have come
bring out
with me.
some brats and all the rest, I might have just rolled on with you.
You're invited.
Well, you going to bring the grill?
No. I'll bring you out to breakfast.
Not going in.
I'm buying. And he missed down low, and so that'll put another runner on here as Cuthbert reaches. Tigers fans, support the Detroit Tigers Foundation and the Chad Tuff Foundation. Receive a limited edition Tigers bow tie. Your donation will benefit youth baseball and pediatric brain tumor research. To purchase a bow tie or for more information, visit tigers.com/bowtie. Two on and one out.
Yeah, you might as well end it with a ground ball.
In there, a strike called. 0-1 on Drew Butera.
Yeah, a lot of breaking balls thrown by Lowe here in the 9th inning.
Butera 1 for 3 in this game. That's in there, a strike called. 0-2. 1 strike away now from the Tigers' 83rd win of the year. Well, there's only 1 out. I jumped the gun. Ground ball would end the game.
For sure, that's what we're looking for.
Did he go? Nope. He held up, said Bob Davidson. Tigers kind of buried the Royals early in this one. They got 2 in the first. They got 2 more in the third. 3 home runs on Danny Duffy. There's action in the bullpen in case. But hopefully Lowe can finish this one off. There's the 1-2, and he just missed. 2-2. Lowe wanted it, didn't get it. Top of the order, Jarrod Dyson waiting on deck. Swing and a miss. And Buter's out of there, 2 gone. That'll bring up Dyson.
It's a good slider here thrown by Lowe. And you can see it in his hand, and he was gripping it just the right way to get the kind of depth that he was able to get on that pitch. And there was a time when he was really struggling, when he was getting around most of his breaking balls, and they were just spinning in the strike zone, and he was giving up a lot of contact, a lot of hard contact, but not lately. Lowe's been good.
And here comes the crowd now at better than 29,000. Dyson looks at ball 1. Royals have actually out-hit the Tigers tonight, which is odd, 10-9, but the Tigers lead by 7. Swing and a miss. 1-1.
Mark Lowe must be working on his breaking ball. When you have a commanding lead like the Tigers have here, 7-run lead in the 9th inning, if there's a pitch that you may have been struggling with, you have the luxury of going out there and working on it. And of the 16 pitches he's thrown at least 10 breaking balls. At least 10.
That's rolled foul.
And every last one of them have been 85 miles an hour.
One and 2 on Dyson. Now the Tigers 1 strike away. Here's the 1-2. Fly ball in the air toward right field. JD is on the run, still going back. He is not going to get it. It's going to go all the way to the wall and score 2. Dyson all the way to third with a 2-out, 2-run triple. And the Royals still breathing. RBIs 22 and 3, 7th triple of the year for Dyson. He's going to bring out Brad Ausmus, and he's going to the bullpen. Well, he was hopeful he could get an inning here out of Lowe to close down this game. Not going to happen, though. And Shane Green going to be summoned out of the bullpen. Pitching change here at Comerica. We'll be back. got a heavy dose of Michael Fulmer tonight, and now the Tigers trying to close this one down. Shane Green coming out of the bullpen with a runner at third and 2 outs.
And Brad wasn't expecting the league to use Shane Green here tonight, but with Lowe giving up a couple of runs here in the top half of the 9th inning, and Green has been summoned into duty.
Whit Merrifield, the batter. And Merrifield looks at the ball outside. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-run triple by Dyson signaled the change. Merrifield a couple of hits tonight. Here's the 2-0. Strike call, 2-1. Now the 2-1. Once again, the Tigers now a strike away.
Outstanding fastball there thrown by Green at 95. That ball just absolutely exploded out of his hand.
Here's the 2-2, and it's fouled back out of play. Single by Gordon, a walk to Cuthbert, and then a 2-out triple by Dyson has made it 8-3. Daniel Nava waiting on deck. Green trying to shut her down here. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. And the Tigers win game 1 here. 83rd win of the season. Michael Fulmer brilliant tonight again. And the Tigers now 83-70 for the time being, a game ahead of Baltimore pending the outcome of their game at home tonight against Arizona.
Outstanding outing tonight by Michael Fulmer and all his teammates.
8-3, Tigers win it over KC. Now we send you to the Call Sam Studios. Trevor Thompson standing by with Tigers Live postgame.